Greetings, colleagues. We are going to show you how to print supporting documents in terms of the term we are currently in, which is term 3. We are going to quickly browse through it so that in the meantime you might be able to be printing the supporting documents. Then we are going to follow up with individual videos for each section that we are showing you right now. Alright, firstly you open your SASMs. Colleagues, mind you, I'm at second level, so I'm opening the database in terms of browsing it. But in your situation, you will be going through the database your normal way of simply just clicking the icon, and then the animation comes up, and then you continue as normal. Once you're inside your database, you will then go to learner and parents, learner data files, class reports and statistics, and then you get your class report and statistics. You get your total enrollment per male, your total enrollment per female, and then the individual class teacher for that particular class. Make sure all the class teachers are there. If one class teacher is missing, please go and rectify prior printing. Then you simply say print class tests. Then it asks you which printer you are using. You use your printer. Then once you click, you are now able to print it. In my case, I am printing simply like this, but in your case, after you click print, you select your printer, then your printer will pop out the page. This is our class stats. It is printed, you're done. You then move back, then you move into your subject registration summary. And then this is your subject registration summary. This is your subject registration summary. You simply check the language of instruction and also the grade. For this school, we have two languages, whereby you have a single language. Maybe let's say your home language is only Spedi, you will find it here. The relevant home language would be indicating here, which is actually the instruction language for the particular subject. And then in terms of intermediate phase and senior phase in primary school levels, the instruction language is English, but also for schools which are having English as their home language as also their instruction language, you would have English in all sections. So now you then print your subject registration summary. Now you click the print button, and then you click OK, and then this is your subject registration summary. You save, then you have printed your subject registration summary. Then now we move to security and database, we move to systems, and then your errors and omissions starts to launch and search. Then once you're there, it is now on curriculum, but you move to checks. In terms of attendance being 100%, colleagues, in most cases you won't get it like that, because what you have is some teachers are away for comorbidities, some classes were not coming, but all in all, the school itself just make sure that whatever reflects here is what you can account for as a school in terms of reasoning. Under normal circumstances, you get 100% and 100% in terms of you have maintained attendance. Now after that, you print your checks. Prior to printing your checks, you also check your learners. Do you have any learners in here indicating any problem? If it's empty like this, is fine. Do you have any educators in here indicating any problem? If not, then everything is still fine. Then again, you now come here. It will be like this because of the term 2 that we skipped upon, but now once it is okay, you then come to checks, and then you print your checks. What we print in here is the checks. We print, then you would have printed your errors and your omissions, and now you save. After you have saved that, you then go done. After you are done with your errors and omissions, you now go to LURET's approval module. You say okay, then you get to the school information, you approve it. You get to learner info, show all current learners, and then you approve them. You get to show all learners with tracking numbers. You get to show all archived learners, you approve them. Then you get to educators, you show all current educators, you approve them. Then you show all archived educators, you approve them. Then you get to staff, you approve them. Then you get to archived staff, then you approve them. If any, you approve them. If you can't approve them, it's because they aren't none in here. Then you get to governance, you approve them. Then you get to inactive governance, then you approve them. Then you get back to your LURET status, you check that total number approved, they correspond, and then you simply deploy your database. It will give you an information that says learner attendance is incomplete, however this validation will be ignored according to BEE call number 121. Then you say okay, then it will tell you what it is going to do, which is familiar with you. You read the message, and then you simply continue to print your deployment. Then your data is deployed. After you have gotten that, you get out of your database, then you launch your Valistructor, and then in your Valistructor, colleagues, you go through in your Valistructor, you don't have to browse for anything. You're on term 3, you're on 2020, and then it will be having your database in your respective schools. I'm browsing because I am at second level. You then say final validation. Then in terms of the final validation, colleagues, your final validation should display this. This is green because there is no problems in registration. All this green should be there. This is yellow because some classes were not coming to school. It's a rotational system. Identifiers would be red because of your learners not having LURET numbers, but then that is acceptable, and some learners one might not have an idea, but then everything else should be green. You are now going to say sign off. It asks you where do you want to place the sign off. Simply say place it on the desktop. You might sign off again and say place it on the desktop. Then you're okay, then you close this. Now I would just quickly create a folder. In your case, you would be having all the printouts. In my case, I will just simply create a folder, take everything and put it in this folder as to not confuse you. Now what you have is your printout for the class stats, and then you also have your printout for the deployment, class stats, deployment, errors and omission, sign off, subject registration summary. Now once you have all of this, you simply stamp the subject registration summary. You sign here, then you also stamp here, then you also sign next to the stamp. You stamp here, you put in your regular information. I think you're familiar with this one, so this is where we end off. But at the end of the day, you must bring us all these documents, all 5 of the documents which I am referring to, which is class stats, the deployment, errors and omission, Valistructor signed off, and then subject registration summary. They amount to 6 pages.